Hey folks, my name's Graham. I'm a variety streamer over at twitch.tv/Graham Plays. I also make YouTube videos where I talk about anything in the games industry which happens to catch my eye. This week's going to be a little bit different from what we've done before. I'm going to be doing a first impressions video on Outriders, specifically based on the demo which was released just at the end of February, I think. So yeah, I've put a few hours into that and going to include some gameplay here, and then at the end I'll record another little sort of vloggy bit with my final thoughts on the game. So a little bit of background about Outriders. It's being developed by a Polish developer, People Can Fly, who are based in Warsaw. Epic Games, everyone's favourite company, purchased a majority share in them in 2007, and they previously worked alongside Epic on games such as Bulletstorm and Gears of War Judgment. Outriders is scheduled to release on the 1st of April 2021, and the developers describe it as a true genre hybrid, combining deep bloody combat with sprawling RPG systems. Basically, it is a third-person action game with skill trees and loot. Think of it like Destiny or The Division. So that's enough for me to start. I'm recording this at the very end of my process of making this video, so I've already played through the demo and I already know what I think about it, but for now I'm going to kick it over to past Graham, who's actually playing the game as we speak. Okay, Outriders, let's go. Taking a while to load. For fuck's sake. Okay, so it finally looks like we might be in. That's 20 minutes it took me. Looking at how long I've been recording for. 20 minutes it took me. And switching my console on and off 3 times, resetting the app a lot of times, maybe 5 or 6. Been stuck on this like signing in page, so yeah, not a great start. Now we appear to be at the character creator, so let's see what kind of options we've got. Yeah, okay, these options are super limited, in such a way that I think it makes me think that they're probably going to add more, because like it's just dumb things like there's no blonde hair colour. There's like white, a couple of different shades of brown, and a kind of orangey auburn colour, but there's no like blonde or like jet black, which is just weird, like weird options. And there's no like really decent long hair, but then there's like bizarre things like there's like quite a lot of options in terms of like scars on your face. Let's go. Okay, so we just landed on Enoch, which is the planet this game takes place on. We learned a bit more about the story as well, which is basically that Earth was destroyed, humanity set off on a ship across the stars looking for a new home, and after 83 years, this is it. We've found Enoch, which we think is going to be a habitable planet. We've sent down some probes to sort of suss the situation out, and those probes have gone missing, which is why I am here. The game looks good graphically, but I don't know, again, I don't know if this is something that's going to be updated, but the vehicle textures look a bit weird to me. Like those textures on that car look a bit flat. I don't know if that's an art style thing.
HQ, know the area is secure.
The fuck is that? Okay, we've walked 100 yards and not really looked around much, but we're telling everyone it's safe anyway. Jack Tanner.
What about Sarah? She's good, right?
Yeah. My Sarah's up there. They don't wake her group for another 6 months, but I can wait.
He's super gonna die.
Now get your asses in gear and do the right thing, or I'm gonna have to fucking...
Told you he was gonna fucking die. Okay, I've got a shotgun now, okay. That felt very Gears of War. Big damage. Fucking eat it. Eat it. Oh, I just blew that man's in half. No boss fight. Fuck you, Domhnall Gleeson from Star Wars copy. He just fucking blew himself up. Get wrecked. Okay, so now we get to choose a class. I kinda like the idea of being a melee person. Let's try it. Is that how easy it is to no-scope fools? Get no-scoped. 360 no-scope. Nope. 360 no-scope. Nope. Oh, what the fuck is that? Let's just get some distance between us and this guy. See if we can use our abilities on him. Get wrecked. Oh, he blew up, I guess. At level 3 we have another ability. Slow trap. So we have some new trousers to put on. They look the same as our old trousers, cool. Okay folks, we're back. It has been a couple of days. If I was to be completely honest, I have to say I've not been feeling the draw to come back and play more of this game, unfortunately. But I wanted to for the sake of this video. I had a couple of thoughts whilst I've been thinking about this over the last couple of days. And I think one of my issues is with the combat system. Like, it's designed as a sort of Gears of War cover shooter, it seems, but then the abilities for the class I was playing, the Trickster, require you to sort of get in close with enemies to like kill them at close range so you heal. So I made another character, this chap here, who is a Pyromancer, because that was like classified as like a mid-range class. So my hope was that I'd be able to actually use the cover shooter mechanics while still using my abilities. But it seems like from what little I've played so far, I've just played back to the point that we were at when we stopped with the Trickster. It seems like that's not really the case. I have like 2 fire abilities. The second one I just unlocked and I've not really tried, but it seems like it's a close range ability. And the first fire ability I unlocked, my L1, is like a really short range kind of wall of fire that he pushes out. So it's still not something I can really cast from range at cover, so I'm a bit confused by this game, to be honest. But I'll play a little bit more as the Pyromancer, and then if I'm not feeling it, I might go back to the Trickster, because the Pyromancer actually feels worse to me than the Trickster. So I noticed this little scissor sign and I walked towards it to see if it was a hairdresser, in case there was like more haircuts or more customization appearances that you unlock or whatever. But when I hold to change appearance here, it just looks like it's the same bog standard character creator.
Listen, asshole. You got a gun pointed right at your...
Oh fuck.
What's going on out there?
Shit, I've got a shotgun out. Okay, I guess the concept of making friends with these guys is off the table. So I don't know like how it wants me to play. Like, am I supposed to stay in cover and like shoot until I'm just fucked, and then go and start wailing on dudes? Let's see what this ability does. No valid targets in range? Honestly, this feels like garbage. Like, because all my abilities are like close range, I have no way of healing. Like, at range from these guys, so I need to just like run about. See, at least with the trickster, regardless, so the trick is that super like narrow shitty flame thing. I can't, like, dude, I can't do this as the Pyromancer. Yeah, I can't do this. So the trick with the Pyromancer is any enemies that have been tagged with your fire that die heal you. But the trick with a trickster is just any enemies that you kill in close range. So whether I kill them with my guns, whether I kill them with abilities, if I'm at close range to them, it gives me health. So the Pyromancer is just that are tagged by my fire, which you might think is the same, but because all my fire abilities are like super close range, it doesn't actually, it's actually worse. So yeah, fuck the Pyromancer.
What the hell is going on out there?
The trickster feels so much more powerful, man. Like, so much more powerful. I'm at like full health through this whole thing. I don't know if the idea is like stay in cover and fight. Until you start to get lit. Because like that guy healed me there and he was pretty far, I would say, but that still counted as close range apparently. But yeah, the trickster's like blanket. Anything at close range heals you. Feels way much better than the Pyromancer's anything tagged by fire heals you. A lot of cutscenes in this game. Like, why did I need a cutscene for that? Like, that shit would have been impossible as a Pyromancer. I just slowed those guys and then it was over. I just murdered all three of those dudes with that one ability. But the Pyromancer gets like a little tiny column of flame that it shoots out. It's fucking shit. No, I can combo those abilities. Like, look at the range on that as well. So much better than the Pyromancer. This is like the Wattle of the Outriders universe. Hey! I'll buy your shit from you! Yeah, okay, I wanted to see what that new ability unlocked was. It's R1, select an enemy and teleport behind them, receiving 30 shield bonus. Okay, cool. Trickster feels so much more powerful, man. What's the range on this teleport ability? It's fucking huge, look at that! I just fucking teleported across the battlefield. So now that I'm playing the Trickster, this actually feels a lot better. Because I have actual worthwhile abilities I can use. Hand cannon's weird. Okay, so that was Outriders. Before I go any further, I should probably clarify that I did actually play for another hour or two beyond the point that you'll have seen in this video, but when I went back to edit it, I realised that OBS had just randomly decided to stop recording my game audio halfway through my session, so all that footage was fucking unusable basically, so thanks for that, OBS. So yeah, final thoughts, I guess. After putting, I'd say about 3.5-4 hours into Outriders, I'm super conflicted. I think my biggest issue is possibly the combat. It kind of feels like half of two systems from two different games just sort of jammed together in a way that I don't really think works that much. And what I mean by that is it has like the cover system, the cover shooter system from like a Gears of War, but it then has sort of mashed on top of it all of these abilities that you have to use, and at least in my experience in the two classes I played, the Pyromancer and the Trickster, you have to be like up close to enemies and out of cover to use these abilities, and using those abilities is crucial to your survivability because it's only really through doing that you can heal and stay alive. So it kind of feels like I'm not really sure why this whole cover system is there and why it's sort of pitched as a third-person shooter. It kind of feels like, as we touched on at the start, the developers worked on Gears of War before, so it kind of feels like that's what they knew how to do, and so that's sort of what the base for the game had to be, whereas I sort of feel like what they actually wanted to make was maybe closer to a more traditional action style combat system. Or maybe I shouldn't say what they actually wanted to make. I think what maybe would have worked better was either sticking more closely to one or other of those systems. So either make it a third person shooter and design your abilities around you being in cover and engaging with that third person cover system. So have abilities that can be activated from range and such like. Then your issue with that is possibly that you're butting up too close against the Division, because that's kind of what the Division does, although you don't have superpowers in the Division, but you do have gadgets and shit that you can use. So that's one possible issue they could have run into. Or the flip side of that is just make a proper action game, like a more traditional, I don't want to say like MMO with tab targeting and stuff, but yeah, make your combat system more action focused. The biggest thing that I felt, particularly playing the Trickster, throughout that whole process, is I was crying out for a sword. You know, I'm like always running up on these enemies. I can fucking teleport behind them. I always want to be close into them. I'm doing it to cast all my abilities and stuff. I just wanted, rather than like spamming a shotgun and having to reload, I just wanted a sword that I could hit them with. It's kind of what I felt like. So it sort of feels like two halves of combat systems from different games that, yeah, don't really fit together all that well. And that leads me to be pretty concerned, I think, for this game's success and its longevity. And I'll elaborate on that a little bit. So this game is very much pitched as a sort of Destiny type game. It's a looter shooter that you're designed to be, it's designed to be that one game that you play that sort of consumes your life, and you play through the story and then you do like fucking dungeons or strikes or whatever they call it, and you basically live in the game with your friends the way you would with a Destiny or a Division or fucking Anthem RIP or a more traditional MMO like a World of Warcraft, right? In my experience, and I'm fucking wearing a Destiny t-shirt right now, I've put a lot of hours into Destiny and World of Warcraft over the years, although I never reached the top of the World of Warcraft endgame tree the way I kind of did with Destiny. Most of these games, when they first come out, are not great, really, statistically speaking. Most of them come out and they have some pretty big issues, and it's key for them to be able to survive long enough for the developers to fix that and make the game they kind of ultimately want to make. So think about Destiny with the Taken King, right? If Destiny hadn't maintained a sort of pretty hardcore, sizable initial player base after its vanilla launch, Bungie would never have gotten the time to actually make the Taken King and release it, and Destiny wouldn't have gone on to be the success that it has been. And I point that out because in order to retain an initial player base that's big enough, I think there's one of two things, but mostly one thing that a game like this needs to nail and really, really nail well, and that is the actual combat, the actual gameplay loop, the feel that you get from playing the game. So to circle back to Destiny, I think Destiny done this really well because its first-person shooting mechanics were amazing. The shooting in that game felt fucking fantastic from the get-go. It was the one thing that was totally outstanding about that game. So people kept playing it, even though there was kind of nothing to do. It was super grindy. The story didn't really make any sense. There kind of wasn't one unless you went and read some fucking parts of the Bungie website. There kind of wasn't a story. But people kept playing it because the combat felt fun. The shooting felt fun. Then as an example of somewhere where that went wrong, look at Anthem. People like the flying combat in Anthem, but it was like, okay. It was the best thing about what is a pretty average game. It wasn't fantastic. It wasn't top tier the way that the shooting in Destiny is. Take Avengers, right? Avengers is not dead yet by any stretch. They're still releasing content for it. But the player base is pretty small, like really small, because there's nothing, because the game doesn't feel that good to play. Like I would grind 1,000,000 hours as Thor to get whatever skin you want me to get if it felt fun playing as Thor, but it kind of doesn't. So I fear for that game as well. And I feel very much the same for Outriders here, because I don't think that combat really works, and because I don't think it really feels that good to play. It certainly feels good in moments when you're in the middle of a battle and you pop off all your 3 abilities and they chain together really well, and you melt a bunch of enemies. That feels pretty good. But as soon as those abilities go into cooldown, it feels super weird and janky again. And that's my worry, is that you spend more time not using abilities than you spend using them, and that means the combat feels janky kind of most of the time. And that's why I kind of worry that this game won't retain the initial player base that it needs in order to give the developers time to maybe tweak the combat system, change it, do a few redesigns here, make it the game that it could be. The second thing a game like this could nail and stay alive feasibly, even if the combat's not that great, is its endgame, is its loot. Now, this I don't really know, because obviously I've just played a few hours of a demo, so I don't really know how good the loot or what the endgame looks like in Outriders. I'm not really sure. So it may come out and it may have a great loot system and fantastic endgame, and that could sustain it. Based on my feelings about the combat, I think it really needs to do that if it is to actually survive. I don't think the gameplay loop on itself is going to be enough to carry it. So yeah, the combat was definitely my main issue. There were a few other things I wanted to note, and some of these may have come across in the video. Technically, the demo was a bit of a mess. You've seen the issues I had getting logged in, and from the research I did, it sounds like that was not an isolated case. The cutscenes were just fucking all over the place. Like, the audio and the video of the cutscenes just wasn't synced up at all. Characters' faces would get weird bugs. It was just not polished, not well polished at all. Now, I don't know how reflective this demo is of the final build that's going to release on the 1st of April, but to me, a demo is supposed to be a sort of vertical slice of your game that you've polished sort of within an inch of its life, and that concerns me for what the state of this launch is going to look like and the state of the game. They could totally fix it, and it could be totally fine, but for me, history with these games tells us that they generally don't launch smoothly anyway at the best of times, and yeah, I'm just not massively confident, so I didn't really want to, because it's a demo, I didn't really want to harp on about that too much, but I just thought it was definitely worth noting. One other little minor thing, depending on what your sort of preference is, the character creator seems weirdly limited. Just dumb things like there's no blonde hair option, there's super limited customization options, but a lot of scars for some reason, so yeah, that wasn't great. Again, I'm not sure if they're planning on adding more of those, more customization options, but you can carry your character from the demo onto the main game, so it kind of feels like they'd be screwing people over who played the demo if they did that. So I don't know, again, this might be something that's not a problem for the full release of the game, so I didn't want to focus on it too much, but worth highlighting. Yeah, I said at the start of this little summary that I was pretty mixed about the game, but now that I'm actually setting all this stuff out, I find that I've not really got much good to say about it. I mean, I guess the combat feels pretty good sometimes, super janky at others. I mean, the story seems fine. I didn't really see enough of it to, make any major sort of sweeping judgment about it. Seems like there could be some interesting characters, and yeah, I suppose I'd be interested to see where it goes. But for me, with these games, it's all about the sort of gameplay loop, and if I'm not feeling that, I won't keep going. So in terms of will I continue to play this game past the demo, probably not. I don't think. I found that even whilst recording the demo, I didn't really have the desire to go back to it all that much. It just didn't feel that fun to me, really. I think it's fundamentally what it comes down to. If it takes off and, a bunch of my friends or whatever get invested in it and hit me up to go play it, then yeah, I'll probably give it another chance. But right now, it just feels average. Like, it just got announced today that it's releasing day and date on Xbox Game Pass, which is good for it and sort of perhaps bodes well for it in terms of its player base. So I'd suggest either giving the demo a try, or if you've got Game Pass, download it in Game Pass and give it a try and find out what you think for yourself. But yeah, I'm not sure I would go spending $60 on it at launch, really, or like pre-ordering it. I would, at the very, very least, suggest waiting a week or two post-release date and just see what the reception is. Try and gauge what the player base is, whether it's going to be something that's going to be played and about for a long time. Wait until those early adopters start getting to the end game and seeing what it's like, and try and gauge whether this is a game that's going to exist for a while before investing a bunch of time into it, or whether we think this is going to be another Anthem and it's just going to disappear again. So yeah, I guess that's it. I mean, if I could sum it up in a couple of sentences, I would probably say I thought I had pretty mixed feelings on it, but now that I've actually talked about it, I probably didn't really like it that much, to be honest, and I don't really have any desire to play it again. But as I say, if it's on Game Pass, may as well try it. So that's it for this week, guys. I hope you enjoyed me doing something a little bit different this week. I fully intend to do sort of more of these as and when games come up that I feel like merit me doing a first impressions of them. It was a bit more of a challenge editing wise, but I enjoyed it. It was a nice change of pace, and it meant I didn't have to try and think of some weird idea for a topic to discuss this week. So yeah, I'll continue to do more of these. If you like this video, or if you have a game that you want to suggest that I play and do some first impressions of, please leave a comment below. If you enjoyed, please don't forget to like and subscribe. It means so much to me. If you have any questions, you can ask me directly in person. I stream on Twitch every Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 9 PM UK time, so come on over, say hi, I'm from YouTube, ask me any question you want to ask, or leave a comment below and I will do my level best to answer you. So yeah, until next time, I'll see you later.